Hello VFX Foundations, my name is Neo. I sit in the back of the class. Today, in honor of my midterm research, I'm presenting the ongoing show called The Last of Us. While watching the show, I was struck by its peculiar visual look. I think it's more than just me who was surprised by this green apocalypse represented on screen. Now, we can thank the games that set the foundations for all of this, who made credits to showrunners' visions. But I'm here to acknowledge the VFX departments and the critical thinking that supported the choices as they crafted this original dystopian world. We've got runners, stalkers, clickers, shamblers, bloaters, a wide variety of infected to bring onto the screen, but how? Here the team explains that they started with concept art and found themselves circling back to the original designs of the games. After this, a choice was made to have the infected be done by practical effects as opposed to CGI or motion capture. This meant a massive workload for Barry Gower and his team in the prosthetic department, but it also meant that they had to pick actors with a specific physicality which enabled them to move in that uncanny, not so human anymore way. So they chose to hire actors that were fans of the games, that they knew how they were expected to move on screen while honoring the game while doing so. In comparison, the infected in the games were computer generated and motion captured as well. This was not such a straightforward choice as prosthetics cost both money and an awful amount of time, not to mention the number of people needed to fabricate what's needed and spares to apply them on actors, to take them off, etc, etc. But I think we can all agree that this was the right choice. The results are astonishing, but the infected look neither too human nor too far off from the games. But most importantly, they look tangible, heavy, and real, all of which make believe a threat. DNAG is a reputable animation and visual effects studio which was, among other, in charge of The Last of Us heavy VFX workload. They shared a bit of the before and after the artists touch upon the place, and it's magnificent. As you can see, most of it is digital matte painting, green screen, blue screen, and the likes. On the art of VFX, there's an extensive interview of some of the DFX, VFX, and CG supervisors of the show, in which they share details about their process. DFX supervisor Nick Marshall shares that they use three main techniques: the build of full CG destroyed city buildings, build of non-destroyed buildings used to simulate a variety of destruction states, and extensive use of matte painting with the camera projection mapping, all three of which they would combine in complex ways to achieve the best results. The core of the process was this critical thinking about how nature reclaimed the deserted urban areas, what kind of vegetation grows, how it grows, and how the lighting hits it. The VFX artists were very intentional in the creation of this green apocalypse. To close this point, I'd like to share a quote from the VFX supervisor Stephen James, who said, "It's not enough to make something look realistic if you don't engage in the character and story. Take a backseat to the story and characters so that when the visual effects do come to the forefront, the viewers can totally believe in them." In other words, VFX does not make a story, but it carries it through. The world of The Last of Us feels different and fresh from all the other dystopian stories we've seen depicted on the screen. I think of The Hunger Games, The Book of Eli, or The Walking Dead, in which we dive into a lawless and loveless world, in which it's every man against every man. Nature is ravished, and so is humanity in its most spiritual and physical sense. The Last of Us shows that we're ready to move away from such cynicism concerning our nature, but also proves that we, as a collective humanity, are longing for something different. There's a video essay about the renewal of apocalypse stories that makes a point about The Last of Us, saying that demonstrates that regardless of our circumstances, it would always be human beings finding each other, loving each other, and quietly lying out, fulfilling lives together. This, when we look at our history in today's landscape, be it in real life and its fictional depiction, is a bold proposition. But I understand it, and I believe in it. However, this idea could never have reached me if it weren't for The Last of Us VFX bridging that gap between imagination and reality. Watching The Last of Us has opened my eyes to a different perspective upon the use of VFX. I used to think of it as a magic wand or shortcut someone waves to fix all sorts of problems. I know, you know, is to fix it in post though. But now I think of it differently. It gives us storytellers a powerful tool to express the most intricate and inventive things we treasure in our heart of hearts. You know, when you capture a strange feeling, there's yet a name for it, and you get on your computer to give that feeling a space, a shape, and eventually you end up creating a world no one's ever seen before. Yet they can relate to it because it came from what's most human within us. VFX gives us a way to express our arts and share it so that they can feel what we feel too, in a way that's never been before because it's so new and revolutionary.